Hello again, nerds. We are doing another reaction video. This is one that's been on the list for a little while. It's definitely not the oldest one on the list, but it is an old one on the to-do list. It is obviously Korn's cover of The Devil Went Down to Georgia. I thought there was an actual music video for this, but apparently not. So we're going to be reacting to the audio of it, and there's Yellow Wolf. We're gonna let's do this. All right, so it's another Korn video. We've done one of these when the Nothing was first released. I do believe we did one then. But I honestly only vaguely remember that song, and I remember not really liking it because it wasn't enough of old school Korn for me, I guess. So this one is apparently, I don't know, it doesn't have the release date on it, so I don't know where it falls in this trend, but there was briefly a trend of doing this cover because Charlie Daniels did pass not too long ago. So I'm looking at the times on all these. So I have the screen up, and it has the Charlie Daniels live version is 5 minutes long, and then the Leo Maracchioli version, which I still haven't watched, and maybe we'll do one of these days. I almost want to do it for this one, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. But Leo at Frog Leap Studios, his version is 4 minutes long, and then Nickelback apparently did a cover for it as well a month ago, and that is 3 minutes and 41 seconds. And then the Korn version is 3 minutes and 52 seconds. So not a whole lot of soloing going on here, though apparently more than the Nickelback version. That's just fun. Whatever. So yeah, before we get too far into this, let's do this part too. Before we get any further into this video, let's get a couple of things out of the way. First, if you want to listen to this song or watch this video in whole without my commentary, then go do that. This is not the place for that. This is a reaction and analysis video. We're here for a conversation, not for a watch party. I'm going to be stopping this video, talking over certain parts, and replaying certain parts, so get used to it. Second, my analysis is my opinion. My opinion comes from a place of knowledge. I have over 30 years of musical training and experience, 20 years as a professional musician and producer, and almost 10 years as a video producer and director. I know what I'm talking about. All that being said, we will be discussing the performance of the song by the musicians, production of the song by the producer, and production of the video, should that apply, by the director and anyone else involved. Now, I return you to your regularly scheduled reaction video. Thanks, nerds. Okay, so history, a little bit of the band and my history with the band. I don't remember exactly how much we did last time, so we'll just do the Reader's Digest version of all of it. Korn is from California. They're from Bakersfield. They all met in Bakersfield at different points. The three members, Monkey, Head, and Fieldy, started a band called LAPD, stood for Love and Peace Dude. You can find videos of that on YouTube these days, which is kind of cool. You should go check that out. Definitely see the evolution of this band. And then they met the other guys, and they started Korn. David Silveria is the only member who was an original member who's not in the band now. Head left for a while because he found God and wanted to stop doing meth, which is a beautiful thing in a number of ways, but he went a little over the top, I think, with the God stuff, but that's just my opinion. He came back in like 2016. They've done 3 records since. This, I do believe, is not actually on any of their records. Not on The Nothing, which is the last record that came out. I think. Let's pull it up. Oh, I don't have the official whatever. Yeah, so I'm like 98% sure it's not on the Nothing because they recorded it after Daniel's passing. Even though they said they've wanted to do it for a while, it was, I guess, opportune for them to do it when they did. Expectations for this song. I expect my dog is going to start making noises. No, I expect this is going to be, it's going to be just like other Korn covers. We've definitely heard other Korn covers in that they're going to down tune it because that's their style. It's going to be a minor cover, I think, is what Adam Neely refers to the stylistic changes, where it's not a note for note cover. It's you take it and you make it your own kind of situation. That being said, it's going to be much more atmospheric than the Charlie Daniels Band version of it. I don't know what they're going to do for the fiddle parts, though, so that'll be really interesting to see. And there's no video for that, so I guess we won't be talking about video production because there is no video. Yeah, I think that covers all of my expectations. I expect the mix. We'll talk about audio production. I expect the mix is going to be pretty good. Fieldy's bass is only going to be audible as such. That's pretty much all you're going to be able to hear from Fieldy because that's usually all you can hear in their mixes anyway. Is his. You can't even hear the notes that he's playing half the time. You just hear the damn click off of his slap. So that's probably going to be an annoyance to me. But I don't know. If this actually legitimately has Yellow Wolf in it, I'm very intrigued to see what happens with that. So without any further ado, let's get to the things. Ooh. Guitar going, get fiddle. There's that bottom. Hey, there is some bottom. The devil went down to Georgia. He was looking for a soul to steal. He was in a bind because he's way behind and he's willing to make a deal. When he came upon this young this Luger kid that they have on the drum kit, he's probably jumped up on a hickory that they have playing drums for them is pretty good, man. Like I love Silveria's stuff on the record that he's on, but he's an alright replacement. You play pretty good fiddle, boy, but that's Yellow. I better fiddle of gold against your soul, cause I think I'm better than you. The boy said my name's Johnny, and it might be a sin, but I'll take that bet and you're gonna regret, cause I'm the best there's ever been. Okay, so a little bit real quick about this vocal mix. Jonathan's voice, I feel like, is mixed very well, as you would expect, because it's a Korn song, but the Yellow Wolf... we could have benefited from a little bit of a gain boost, just a slight gain boost, and then maybe a slight boost in the EQ round about the vocal range. So 3K to like 3.5K, somewhere in that neighborhood, whatever was beneficial to his voice specifically. But like he's a little too folded into the mix. You start to lose his voice behind the snare, and it should sit just on top of the snare. So otherwise it sounds great. I really like. We'll see when we get into the meat of the song how the bass is really mixed, because right now you can hear the bottom end of it, but there's no real definition to it. But that's not. It is to be expected, I suppose, at this point. Because the intro portion of this song is very vocal heavy and not very instrument heavy. So continuing. The devil gets your soul. Opened up his case and he said, I'll stop the show. And fire flew from his fingertips as he rosined up his bow. Then he pulled the bow across the strings and it made an evil hiss. And a band of demons joined in and it sounded something like this. I like that vocal layering. We're gonna go back over. All right, so there's vocal layering in here. We have like a chorus section in the background. So that's a great way to illustrate like good ways to mix in atmospheric vocals. It's kind of like what you would do with a keyboard. You sit it like you have all of your primary instruments, which is the guitar, the bass, the drums, or it would be a fiddle if this was the Charlie Daniels version. The fiddle would sit on top of all of the other stuff. And then just for atmospherics, so you have all of that stuff sitting here, and just for atmospherics, you'd put that keyboard or chorus vocal like they have right about the bottom, just inside of this sonic sphere, but just barely towards the bottom. We're going to go back a little bit and re-listen to that. That was really well done. Oh, and that is a single voice. That is a single voice with a chorus effect on it, too. At first, I thought it might be like a legitimate like gang vocal style chorus, but that's just a chorus effect. That's here. I'll see if I can vocalize. That's the word I'll see if I can vocalize exactly how you can differentiate the two, because it can be a little bit difficult with vocal effects, but. You can hear that there is a primary voice in the, so there is a front voice, effectively. There's a voice that's sitting in front of all of the other chorus effects. So the chorus effect is what is the multiple voices. The things that sound like extra voices is really just a digital effect added to that singular voice in post, which... Not a bad use of that. I don't generally do that on voices unless it's something like this, unless it's something that gets mixed in the background for atmospherics. So again, very well done. One thing, I know I'm stopping it in this section a lot. One thing I do appreciate more about the drums when David was playing with them and not Luzier, I can't remember his first name, and I don't care to pull up the Wikipedia, but his groove, his pocket, he and Fieldy, and then whichever guitar player was playing rhythm at the time, Monkey or Head, because they definitely go back and forth. Sometimes neither of them are playing rhythm, but that's neither here nor there. But at the very least, David and Fieldy had an amazing pocket together. In here, he's playing a little bit in front of the beat. The drummer's playing a little bit in the front of the beat, and the rest of the guys are playing right on it. So it's got a little bit of a clash as far as the rhythm goes, because he's out in front, and everybody else is trying to play catch-up, which... can work, but generally speaking doesn't. Usually everyone should be in front of the beat, on the beat, behind the beat. That's how you get that pocket. That's how you mesh well together, is when everybody's in the same displacement on where that beat is. So if you listen, you can hear his kicks are just a little bit ahead of where the guitar downstroke is. And also where the downbeat on the bass is. He's just a little bit ahead, and there are plenty of videos on YouTube if you want a little bit more information on how that works, but he's definitely ahead of the beat, and everybody else is just a bit on more directly on the beat. So Silveria would not do that. Silveria would be right with Fieldy at the very least, and then the other two would do their thing. But again, Luzier, I'm pretty sure I'm saying his last name correctly, is not a bad drummer. I'm not trying to make this out to be like, oh, he's terrible and they're not the same because he's not in it, or he's not David, but he's not David, but that's not what makes them worse these days. I feel like that's, sobriety and, the fact that Jonathan doesn't technically have any demons anymore. But that's neither here nor there. We're talking about this song. And then it gets groovier. We're going to get back into that preamble to the groove as it picks up right here. I like his fills, man. He does really good fills on that kit. Nice. Into that groove. just a little bit ahead of them.
When the devil finished, Johnny said, well, you're pretty good, old son.
Hey, Yellow Wolf again.
Sit down in that
chair right there. Let me show you how it's done.
Fire on the mountain, run, boys, run.
Ooh, I didn't like that.
The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chicken in the bedpan, picking at the...
So, all right. So this vocal delivery from Jonathan right here would have been so much better served if we had, and I hate to keep saying this, but I mean there's great examples of Korn being Korn before this song. So if you go and listen to the dude from 10 Second Songs, because he does a really great Jonathan impersonation. And if you listen to his Jonathan impersonation, the stuff that he really excels at is Jonathan with the more aggro style vocal. Something like on Untouchables. I'm trying to remember the name of the song. I can't remember. The vocal is ass up high, make a mother effer want to cry. That vocal delivery on whatever song that was on Untouchables, I can't remember. It's the dirty song. That vocal delivery would have better served this. It sounds like Jonathan's trying to do something a little more clean with his vocals and a little less compressed and distorted, which I've never... I stopped listening to them after Untouchables. I'm not going to lie. That was the last record that I actually bought. Everything else that I've heard of theirs since then has been because I've been around somebody who was listening to a record, and so they, I heard something off of a record beyond that, or the single that hit the radio, or I did a reaction video to it, or something along those lines. I haven't listened to an entire Korn record since Untouchables for a number of reasons, but one of the main reasons is Jonathan's choice to go a little bit more digestible, I guess is a good way to put that. He's much more radio friendly with his vocal delivery these days, and that's kind of what he's doing here. And I feel like this would have been much more well suited to his aggressive vocal, something a little bit, and also because the instruments have picked up and the instruments are more present in the mix. I feel like that would have made his vocal more present in the mix, and as it stands here, it kind of muddies up a little bit. That sounds great, though. That upbeat. Wow, he fixed it. He's right with them on this pocket, which is not necessarily a good thing, because he should have been right with them for the whole song.
The devil bowed his head because he knew that he'd been beat, and he laid that golden fiddle on the ground at Johnny's feet. Johnny said, devil, just come on back if you ever want to try again. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, I'm the best it's ever been. He played Fire on the Mountain.
All right, hold on. We're going to get into that because we're going to talk about that fieldy fill right there. I like this orchestration. I like how the guitar kind of is dwindling out, but we have that groove in the kick the drum kit. Sorry, first day with the new mouth. The groove with the drum kit and with Fieldy's bass, that was very well done. I feel like it's very strange because usually they have an excellent mix on Fieldy's bass. This time around, though, it feels like there's something missing there. Like maybe a little bit of the high end isn't there like it normally is, because there's a little less presence, but we still get this little solo breakdown thing that he does, and it sounded good. We're going to listen to it again.
The devil bowed his head because he knew that he'd been beat, and he laid that golden fiddle on the ground at Johnny's feet.
Yeah, he's
Johnny
back ahead
said,
of the beat
devil,
here
just
again,
come on back if you ever want to try again. I done told you once, you son of a bitch, I'm the best.
So we're missing. That's exactly what it is. It's there's less high end on Fieldy's bass mix than there normally is, because you can hear he's slapping, but there should be these. Make sure I can hear. Yeah, I don't have it because my strings are much tighter than his are, so it's not as present on the way I mix my sound either. But you can still hear that top end a little bit from the impact of his thumb, because Fieldy does this a lot. That's where 90% of Fieldy's playing is just him. So the top end of that impact sound is a key part of Fieldy's sound as a bass player. Like, that's kind of one of the things that makes Korn Korn, and it's missing here. Like, even that awesome little groove thing that we just had right there was missing it. That's very strange to me.
To ever been, he played. Fire on the mountain, run, boys, run. The devil's in the house of the rising sun. Chained in the red band, picking at door. Graduating dog by no time, no.
But that guitar, man, Monkey and Head's guitar, though, sounds great. That's pretty standard. That's pretty standard Korn mixing on the guitars right there. So Monkey and Head still got theirs together. I wonder what the decision was on doing that with Fieldy's bass, because that's very interesting that they took the top end off of his bass. You get a lot less of those plosives from his bass, a lot less of the clicky stuff, which is very strange. Maybe to give it a little bit more homage to the source material. I don't know. That's a very interesting production decision, though. Because I would be willing to bet, I've only heard one song off the record, but I would be willing to bet that The Nothing, their newest record, has plenty of high end on Fieldy's bass. Because, again, that's one of the things that makes a Korn record a Korn record. So, very interesting. But that is the reaction, guys. I dig it. I can get behind their cover of Devil Went Down to Georgia. It's definitely not as good as the Charlie Daniels original version, but Charlie Daniels couldn't do as good as the original recording live. Hadn't been able to, as far as I've heard, for years. Listened to a few different live versions throughout the course of Charlie Daniels' career, and he got sloppier as he got older. Not disrespecting the man at all. He definitely is a very influential name in the genre, but I feel the same way about Willie Nelson. Willie Nelson is awesome. He is a great presence in the country music genre and did a lot for the genre, but definitely is not one of the best players in the genre. One of the best writers for sure, but players, not so much. And Charlie Daniels he was all right in his youth. He was pretty good in his youth. Again, more of a writer than a player, but still a hell of a player when he was younger. As he got older, he got sloppy. There's a lot of really poorly missed notes, and not just a couple of cents off. Because when you're playing a non-fretted string instrument, so like it's really easy when you're playing something like the bass. Here, let me further into this video. Let's get a couple of things up. You don't want either of those things playing. So when you're playing a fretted instrument like the bass, I can play this whole bit and it's all the same note, because the fret is where the point of contact, where the vibration starts, right? So I'm changing where the string vibrates based on where I fret. Guitar is the same way. That's why when you see those microtonal guitars and their frets are all over the place, it's a very different sound, because without those frets, every minor little tiny rotation with your finger changes the character of the note, changes how in tune you are playing. So like concert violinists and fiddle players in general can, if their string goes out of tune, so like if you're on a, I don't remember if violins are tuned standard or not, but the low string, generally speaking, on a 4-stringed instrument, when it comes to rock and roll anyway, is an E. So if your E suddenly you hit the headstock on something and it goes to an E flat or an E sharp, you can adjust how you're playing in order to make it the right note where it should be. With a fretted instrument, that's not the case. You have to retune the string. So Charlie Daniels, in his older years, in his latter years, would miss those by a few cents, and it was very, very noticeable if you go back and listen to some of those live recordings. Again, not trying to disparage the man at all. I think he was amazing. I don't remember why we were talking about that, but, guitars are great, and so are fiddles. I love fiddles. I wish I knew how to play bowed string instruments because they sound amazing. But that is, again, where we're ending it, guys. What did you think of the cover? What did you think of my reaction and analysis of said cover? And let's have that conversation down low in the comments. There is a website, generallynerdy.net. There is a Patreon if you want to support, patreon.com/generallynerdy. And all of the other things, you can find all the socials down in the description down low. Yeah. Sorry, I had to push buttons. There are now 2 boxes right here below my face. You can click or tap either of those in order to see other things going on the channel. Don't forget to click that subscribe button because you love all of these things that I do on my channel. We're going to head out, and thank you very much, nerds, for joining me once again. Before we do go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, I'm trying to do 2 things. It's probably here